Hi, welcome to your checkup. We are the patient education podcast, where we bring conversations from the doctor's office to your ears. On this podcast, we try to bring medicine closer to its patients. I'm Ed Dulesky, a family medicine doctor in the Philadelphia area.
And I'm Cola Rufo. I'm a nurse.
And we are so excited you were able to join us here again today. So one little piece of banter that we have is that I passed my obesity medicine boards.
You did.
With flying colors, I might add. Yeah.
I guess your whole summer of ignoring me to study was well worth it.
I think it was.
I'm just kidding.
The 99th percentile said so.
My name's Eddie.
Yeah.
I'm the best at everything.
That's not true. But so I'm very excited about that. First year of attending Hood and have, the certification is like the thing that you get at the end of a fellowship. And I did a different pathway for the education for obesity medicine through continuing medical education, did it while I was a resident and in the early parts of being an attending, took the boards and now certified.
The day before our wedding.
I took the boards the day before the wedding, which was
is not talked about enough.
Probably not.
You just casually did that.
Yep. It needed to get done. Otherwise I would have had to wait a year. But now I am board certified in obesity medicine and look forward to helping out as many people as I can and also working to destigmatize this thing, because far too often people feel like it's their fault or there's not enough help or they're just left to their own devices with no productive way to help themselves. So I am so looking forward to trying to help wherever I can with everything I've learned. All right. Well, you are not feeling 100% on the day that we are meant to do this. And that is okay, because if we are to maintain consistency, we have to have backup plans. But can you say hello to the good people?
Hello, good people.
So what we're going to do instead is I'm going to ask for some help. What's that?
Well, we have some sort of banter.
We do have some sort of banter. Well, why don't we do a little bit of banter? Talk to me.
Okay.
What's on your mind?
Well, I have a piece of Nikki's Corner. We're going to test your knowledge of the goings on in the world and see where we are.
Great. Okay, give it to me.
Well, this is a big one that just happened. And I honestly would be shocked if you actually had no clue that this happened. But Netflix acquired Warner Brothers.
Yep. Didn't know.
You didn't know that?
No, I had no idea.
Oh, yeah. Which includes HBO.
Oh.
And HBO Max for a total enterprise value of $82.7 billion.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. I guess it's not TV money anymore, but that's big streaming money, if you will.
I know.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea. No, Nikki's Corner got me again.
Nikki's Corner. That's my only update that I had. I guess there could have been more, but
it's okay. You're not feeling it today, and that's okay.
Yeah. It's Ollie's 9th birthday today.
It is Ollie's 9th birthday.
And he is a stomach bug. So we were up a lot of the night with him.
Yeah.
And now we're off. Didn't sleep well. Our appetite dysregulation is going crazy. We just had to make a midday grilled cheese.
Some would call it lunch, but and it'd be a reasonable thing to consume. Yeah. We love our intern, but moreover, he's our little buddy. He's so precious to us, and every moment we have with him is amazing. I do wish he was feeling a little bit better today.
I know. We'll have to do birthday activities another day this week.
Yeah, we'll take him to one of his favorite stores. He sits out front. But really, anytime we're outside and someone passes him, I am not shy to let them know. I'm like, it's his birthday today.
I know.
And I think they think it's cute. And he gets all excited, and then they get excited. And it's just a nice experience. But he's like the best. My first and best doggy.
Yeah. We were supposed to finish Christmas shopping today, but that's okay.
That's okay. Life gives you lemons. We would have been away, and then we would have been away from him for longer than we intended. We booked in 2 hours, and it was not going to take 2 hours.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah. Well, happy birthday to Big Lid as well.
And Big Lid.
She's a faithful supporter of the show. She's always putting this on her thing. On her Instagram.
Has the same birthday.
Really appreciate that.
Ollie and Big Lid have the same birthday. Oh, Maggie, Pat's girlfriend. Her birthday's today too.
Yes, it is. I saw that. I wish them a happy birthday on via Instagram. Yeah. Happy
Great
birthday,
day.
Maggie. Big day. There's also Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was.
Yeah. Seems like people have forgotten that one.
And it's I always remember because it's my cousin's wedding anniversary. They got married on Ollie's first birthday.
Oh, his first birthday. Oh, man. That's wonderful. Well, we'll keep it light because we have a very special. It's actually our first guest appearance. It's not how I thought this would happen, but in a pinch, my near dear friend pitched in to help settle an issue that you and I have
Our
had.
very loyal listener.
Our very loyal listener. His name is Mike Rozanski. And he is joining us today as a content expert for our banter section. If you don't know Mike, he's one of the funniest people you could possibly ever meet.
Yeah. You know, he and Sam are both like so funny.
Yeah.
And like Sam especially, I don't know what it is about her, but like she'll say something just like so deadpan. And it's so funny, but she's like not trying to like they're just so funny.
It just cuts through you and like it's like so funny. It just brings out the giggles. It is. We got to see it for a whole 2-hour car ride right in
I know, and
front
then
of
when they're like feeding off of each other, it's like even more funny.
It is. And it's like,
you know, I think we actually
it's like intellectual humor too.
It is.
Like we're just idiots.
I feel like we're very lucky and have a lot of funny people in our life.
Truly.
Don't you think?
Oh yeah. Like even like especially with like how our experience this weekend, like this collection of humans, and I just didn't stop laughing. And even beyond them, we have so many. No, it's great. I'm got to keep the people who are around you laughing, and then you laughing with them.
Yeah,
it's great.
Anyway, so back to our loyal listener,
yes.
Mike.
So he is also known as the Prince of Glassboro, born and raised in Glassboro, New Jersey. His degree is from Rowan University.
Go Profs.
Go Profs. He currently works in, I would say, upper management at a worldwide betting company. And he is one of my absolute best friends. And so he subbed in today in this separate little interview to help settle a debate that we had. Something that you brought up 2 weeks ago in your first.
Well, I don't know that it was a debate. It's a bit dramatic.
I'm trying to set it up, you know.
Oh yeah.
That
I have no idea what you guys said.
Well, we talked about Michelin, and
I knew what you were.
In your maiden
about.
voyage of Nikki's Corner. What was that? Because I cut you off.
No.
Oh, in the maiden voyage of Nikki's Corner, it's all about restaurants, and I was like, "Is this the same as the Pillsbury Doughboy looking guy who sells tires?" And you're like, "No." And it came to pass.
Okay, you know why? Because you always are like waiting with bated breath for like a stupid dad joke.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, this is just one of your stupid dad jokes.
This one isn't.
But
right.
like,
I just got lucky.
Then when I was like watching this stuff, like the Michelin guy is up there. But then I'm like, is this just a bit? You know?
No.
I guess I wasn't educating myself properly for Nikki's Corner. And for that, I apologize to the good people. And I'll do my due diligence going forward.
But boy, do we have a special treat for you. So what you'll hear next is my one-on-one interview with Mike Rozanski from his basement, where he listens to Your Checkup podcast. And we discuss the Michelin lineage. Enjoy. Okay, so this is very exciting. This is not how I expected this to happen, but we have our first guest, and he's here joining us. We already heard his introduction. Can we hear from our first guest? Mike, do you have anything to say?
Well, hi, Your Checkup listeners. This is really an honor. Again, like Ed said, this is not something we planned.
For anyone who's been listening over the course of the last 2 weeks knows that we started a segment, Nikki's Corner. And with her feeling a little under the weather today and having a limited role, I needed some backup for our banter section. And so I thought, who better to bring in than Mike, because he was the one who informed me about Michelin and their lineage, the family story. But maybe we can dive into a little bit more about that. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, no, I'm happy to educate the listeners on something that I know a lot about. I think I should start maybe by giving my qualifications about why I should be talking about this, Ed. Do you think?
Yeah, I think from your
Would that
perspective,
help?
sure. I'm going, yeah. What? Tell me.
Okay, so personally, I've never been to a Michelin star restaurant before. I was curious about this topic a couple of years ago, and I looked it up online. So I will give some context to the listeners. I had the opportunity to read back into it, but I'm going to go off of what I remember from when I looked this up 3 years ago.
That's what we want. That's really what we want. So,
I think that's because your checkup is all about, having accurate, up-to-date information. Your listeners are going to learn something. So why not, just completely riff?
Yeah, completely risk the reputation. That's why we have two sections, the banter section and the
That's
actual
true.
educational section. So
It's like an editorial. Yeah.
Exactly. How did we get from tires to restaurants?
So that's a great question. So Michelin started as a tire company, as many people know it today, of course. There were two brothers that owned it. It was a French tire company. Now, this was early 1900s, I believe, maybe late 1800s. Not a lot of cars on the road at that time, as you might recall.
I might recall.
So it was kind of tough. And of course, people didn't have things like Google Maps where, you have the entire world at your disposal and you know what's going on all over the place. If someone wanted to travel somewhere, you got to do a lot of research. So what Michelin did was put together this free guide, and it was called the Michelin Guide. So people who owned cars were able to pick this up. It had information about hotels and, of course, restaurants. So for Michelin, it was kind of a way to say, like, hey, when you're on your fun little road trips, here is a place that you can stop. And, if it happens to be a couple 100 miles away and you get some wear and tear on your tires, come back to Michelin. We're going to give you some more time, right? So you can see why it was in their interest to put this together.
I see it now.
Well, yeah. And now eventually this thing really took off, and more restaurants were vying to get these Michelin recommendations and Michelin stars. So Ed, do you know the distinction between the different Michelin accolades, I guess?
Oh, no. It is not something I'm confident in. Can you help us?
Yeah, sure. So again, I can't confidently say it as well, but there's the three. I know there's the 3 stars. The 1 star is a great meal. Now, relatively speaking, it is probably like a 1-star Michelin restaurant is probably the best meal most people have ever had in their entire lives.
Wow.
But in the world of fine dining, it's good, right?
Yeah.
And for Michelin, it's hey, if you're on your road trip and you see this place, it's worth a stop. 2 stars is kind of excellent food, and they go above and beyond other things. So the service is probably great. 3 stars is basically for Michelin is you should plan your trip around this place. Now there's also Michelin recommended places. There is a French term for it. I do not remember what that is. I think it begins with a B. So you can splice this in if you look it up afterwards. But that's essentially like solid value according to the Michelin people. So when they came to Philly, people might know Angelo's on South, or right off of South Street. So they have great cheesesteaks, great pizzas. They have this Michelin distinction. So they don't have a star, but it's basically them giving their props to Angelo's and some other places like that. So yeah, fun enough. Both the tire company and the restaurant people, the same Michelin.
Thank you so much for clearing up something that gave our household such strife for the last 2 weeks. And now we understand. And I'm seeing here a couple new 1-star restaurants in Philadelphia. You correct me if I'm wrong. Her Place Supper Club That's one that was brought up in Nikki's Corner 2 weeks ago. Is that correct?
That is one of them. Yep.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Is that another one?
Another one. Yep. And then the third should be, actually, I don't even know the name of it. I think it's a Korean place, though.
Could it be Provenance?
That's it. I had actually never heard of that until they got their Michelin star, which is really cool. Because now I'm sure they're blowing up, and you probably can't get a reservation there for 2 years. But no, it's really cool to see Philly, have the actual Michelin ratings now, because for so long it's been known as this great food city, but now it's kind of bigger on a national stage.
Yeah, you and Karthik taught me the. I don't know. He went to one in New York, and he was like, "Oh, I went to a Michelin restaurant," and I was like, "I have no idea what that means." And now it's taken over my life to some degree, so much so that we have our first ever guest in an unexpected way. Unbelievable. But I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to literally see you in probably 3 hours. But
yep, no, we are going to the Sixers-Lakers game.
And no one will know because the episode will be done by then, but it'll be a good time had by all. And it's just a Mike weekend, much like the restaurant, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Look at that. Well, that's incredible. Well, yeah, thank you again for having me on.
You are so welcome. Thank you. And I'm sure everyone is going to be, so excited. Share it with your family and friends, and looking forward to more.
Yeah, and by the way, if you want any health tips from someone that does not work in the healthcare industry, I'm your guy. Just, I can make some stuff up about that too if you want.
We know where to find you. We hope you have fun in your basement.
This is getting cut. Oh, thank you, Ed. Thank you.
You are so welcome. All right. Thank you, Mike. So what are we going to talk about today, Nick?
Today we're talking about starting a GLP-1 med.
Yeah, this is, since Nikki's feeling under the weather, this is going to be notably a one-sided episode. But I recently got my obesity medicine certification. And so now I have a little bit of credibility to back up the things that I try to teach people. This episode is specifically meant for people who are going to be or starting to think about taking these medicines. And they're very powerful tools. It is like wielding a chainsaw practically when it comes to treatment of obesity. And not everyone just gets handed a chainsaw. You need a coach. You need someone who is right there with you to help teach you how to use that tool. And so what I've been doing recently is like having a very scripted visit with people when they come back after prescribing them. And then I thought to myself, well, what great fodder for an episode. And so for these next couple minutes, what we're going to do is talk about some of those tips that I go over in those visits, and we will get started. So these GLP-1 receptor agonist medications, or otherwise called, they're always also called nutrient stimulating hormone therapies, but that's not called that in the common media. They just go by the brand names, Zepbound and Mounjaro for the active ingredient tirzepatide, and Ozempic and Wegovy for the active ingredient semaglutide. They are once weekly injectable medications most commonly. And what I've been finding is that word injectable makes some people feel immediately uncomfortable. But there's some good news. A lot of people end up telling me like that was way easier than I expected when they come back and tell me how they've been using the medicine. Often you don't even see the needle. They make these so simple as an auto-injector pen. And the way that it works, and there are several videos from the companies that make these medicines teaching people how to use them. And once you get the hang of it, it really is second nature. So you press the pen against your skin. I usually tell people to go within 2 centimeters of their belly button. And you press that pen against your skin after cleaning the area with an alcohol wipe. And you press the top and you hear the first click and you keep holding it there. And then you hear the second click sometime after. After that second click, you're done. Well, what's happening between the two clicks is the actual mechanism of the pen is delivering medicine inside in the subcutaneous tissue. And that's it. It's once a week. And you don't have to think about this. Actually, you do. we're going to talk about how much you have to think about it. But practically speaking, moment to moment, that's it. Rinse and repeat next week. Some people choose to take it in the morning, others at night. Really, truly, there's no perfect time, but a lot of my patients like nighttime dosing because if any nausea shows up, they may sleep through it. They may sleep through the worst part of it. And another practical important tip is that these medicines should be stored in the refrigerator to keep their longevity. So I mentioned nausea and why people might take it in the evening to avoid that. So here are a few tips to help stave off nausea. It happens to be one of the most common side effects when people are starting these medicines, especially early on or during dose increases. And there's a couple key ideas that I want you to remember. A lot of the nausea comes from overeating while your stomach is emptying more slowly for a short period of time. In general, these medications work mainly through appetite hormones that get translated through communication with the brain in a very complicated way. And early on, they also slow how fast food leaves your stomach. So if you eat a normal portion size the way you used to right away, that stomach can feel overfilled. And that distension is when the nausea shows up. And so the most practical tip to think about is when you start taking the medicines, cut your portion size in half on purpose ahead of time to try to avoid any of that. Truly, you can always go back for more if you want to, but if you start with too much, you can't really undo that. And then you get that full, heavy feeling, that distension that may feel like nausea. Many people also tend to describe a feeling of prolonged fullness, which is part of the nature of the medicine. And they say things like, I ate hours ago and I still feel full. Early on, that's very common with the medicine. That's fine and normal, and it usually improves as your body adapts to the medicine. So the next thing we're going to talk about is managing another common side effect, constipation. This is very common. It is very real, to be completely honest, and it is also fixable. So if you are very proactive, you can prevent this using what I'll describe as 3 ways. Fiber is the first one. To begin with, most people don't get enough fiber throughout the day, even before starting to take these medicines. And so when people go on a GLP-1 receptor agonist, that's kind of augmented and amplified. The upper limit of most fiber goals should be about 35 grams per day. And I would take a bet that a lot of people don't get that. And that's okay. I also probably don't get that. And an easy way to start doing that is asking your doctor or going to the pharmacy and getting a fiber supplement. It can be in a pill, or there are some powders out there that are flavored or unflavored, and you can just add them in until you find delicious foods that you can add in that are more reasonable and more overall nutritious. I'm thinking it doesn't have to be boring. It could be things like beans, berries, certain vegetables, whole grains, and seeds all have a little more fiber, and like I said, can be delicious. So the next thing is water. Taking fiber without water actually can make constipation and feeling bloating worse. So the two things must go together. So if you weren't doing this before, you really should prioritize hydration. And the third is that medications when needed. There are medicines that can help with constipation. We have a whole episode on constipation that you can refer back to, but sometimes even with good fiber and water, people still struggle. And so that's when the doctor may prescribe a medicine to help your bowels move more regularly. And this also goes hand in hand with the nausea as well. At those dose initiation or increases, a very reasonable thing to ask is, can I have a medicine that helps with the nausea? I don't think many people would have a problem helping you out if they commonly use these medicines. But that's also another very reasonable way when you're getting used to using these medicines. So the next tip is about managing muscle, and a lot. So these medicines are very effective at what is described in the literature as total body weight loss. Unfortunately, the mainline clinical trials didn't look at what percentage of the total body weight loss is from muscle. Other reviews and things did, and we did a whole episode on this, and we found that it's not the majority. It is some minority of the total body weight loss can be from muscle. We were also seeing things that the muscle quality could improve on these medicines while the overall lean mass reduces, because sometimes there's fat distribution within the muscle that gets cleared up with the medicines. This is an evolving conversation, but in a practical sense, to try to keep and maintain as much muscle mass as possible, it is a daily adjustment. So you use the medicine once a week, but this is a daily adjustment that needs to be made. And there are two things to think about: protein intake and strength training. So there are a few studies that organize and say about 1.3 grams of protein per kilogram of ideal body weight per day, as long as your kidneys can handle it. That is something you probably should ask your doctor and not just take from a guy you're listening to on a podcast, even though he's an obesity medicine specialist. It doesn't need to be perfection, but I would say get an idea of how much protein you have in your diet. If you're less than that and you're starting these medicines, there's probably some room for improvement. So it's not necessarily about the exact numbers, but it's more about concepts and things that you practically have every day in the kitchen. Like, what meals are you having for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and your snacks? And how are you spending your food? While we're talking about food, the idea is to try to optimize your whole nutrition as best as possible, because these medicines, in a large way, work by appetite regulation. It takes the entire bandwidth of the food you eat every day and mutes it, because you're going to eat less of it. So it stands to reason that if your nutrition is suboptimal, that you're going to just have less of suboptimal nutrition, which looks like more processed foods, more processed foods that aren't so nutritious, or more junk food. So now is the time to really think about where you can have more vegetables, where you can have more lean proteins, and keep your diet well balanced, because we also find that many people feel motivated to make these changes once they start these medicines, which right now is just an anecdotal thing. Maybe we'll get more research about why that motivation changes. But that's something that we notice. People get the kick in the butt they need, and they're like, oh, I'm going to start making all of these changes all together to improve my health. But to think about protein, more concepts than numbers, just try to improve and optimize the amount that you have. So while we're still talking about strength training and muscle maintenance, what you should probably know is that for the average adult, it's recommended across the board that at least 2 days per week of strength training is good for your health. But for people on GLP-1 medicines, it is a good idea to do more, and probably at least 3 days per week. And so that may be intimidating. You could be someone who's like, oh, I look in the mirror and I'm like, I'm really getting started on this health journey, but I don't strength train at all. It doesn't have to be fancy. It can be body weight workouts. It could be dumbbells, resistance bands, machines even. Some things you don't even need any equipment for. It could be air squats, and you just do 3 sets of 10 a few times during the day. That's a start. It's not about the end goal. It is about the day-to-day process and the journey you're on to improving your health. The reason muscle also matters is because it sends powerful signals to your metabolism. It helps with long-term weight maintenance and protects against weight regain. It improves your energy. It improves blood sugar control, prevents you from getting injured and falls, and helps you maintain your independence. So maintaining muscle is a huge deal when someone enters into I am starting to take a GLP-1 receptor agonist for whatever reason. So that's muscle, super important. And then the other thing that I really like to, harp on and let people know ahead of time is that other medicines may need to change. It's critically important and, unfortunately too often overlooked, especially when someone goes online and just gets just getting the medicine from someone, not someone who looks at their whole holistic health. So as you lose weight, your body composition changes, and the need for other medications may need to change too. I think of 2 really common examples. I think of blood pressure medications, and I think of insulin and diabetes medications. If these aren't adjusted properly as body composition changes, it can lead to low blood pressure, dizziness from low blood pressure, falls from low blood pressure, or hypoglycemia, which is also low blood sugar. And that is why follow-up matters, because if these medications don't work in isolation, they affect everything. And so if you are feeling things, you should tell someone. You should let the person who's prescribing your medicines know. Let your primary care doctor or whatever clinician you're seeing know that you're feeling something. Maybe they can offer reassurance. Maybe it takes a visit. But, while people are starting these medicines, there's lots to think about. There's a lot of moving parts. They're very helpful. They're groundbreaking practically. But we do need to make sure that it's safe. And that also goes with going too far. Like if someone's on too high a dose of a medicine and loses too much weight. So there's always a sweet spot. And like I said, we're dealing with a chainsaw here. Very powerful, but a very important tool. And so let's talk big takeaways. The GLP-1 receptor agonists are powerful tools, and the best results, the safest results, come when you pair the medications with smart portion awareness, fiber and hydration, protein and strength training, and close medication monitoring of other things. Truly, it's not about perfection. It is about starting small, making day-to-day choices that are more healthy for you than less healthy. So if you're starting one of these medications or thinking about it, I want you to know that you are not behind, you're not broken, you're not taking the easy way out. You are being treated for a chronic disease with real evidence-based medicine. And if you found this episode helpful, you can share it with someone who's also just getting started. We have episodes about any sort of topic that you could imagine. And if you want to hear anything more or less, please just let us know. So thank you for coming back to another episode of Your Checkup. Hopefully you were able to learn something for yourself, a loved one, or
a neighbor.
You can find us on Instagram. You can send us an email at yourcheckuppod@gmail.com. If you found this helpful, a review really does go a long way, or a like on whatever app you're listening to us on. But even if one person found this helpful, we feel like the job got done. So we hope you had some fun today and learned something. But most importantly, stay healthy, my friends. Until next time, I'm Ed Dulesky.
I'm Nicole Rufo.
Thank you and goodbye.
Bye.
This information may provide a brief overview of diagnosis, treatment, and medications. It's not exhaustive and is a tool to help you understand potential options about your health. It doesn't cover all details about conditions, treatments, or medications for a specific person. This is not medical advice or an attempt to substitute medical advice. You should contact a healthcare provider for personalized guidance based on your unique circumstances. We explicitly disclaim any liability relating to the information given or its use. This content doesn't endorse any treatments or medications for a specific patient. Always talk to your healthcare provider for complete information tailored to you. In short, I'm not your doctor.
I am not your nurse.
And make sure you go get your own checkup with your own personal doctor.